So this is going to be part 2 of 3, unless of course you're watching only this one because it's the Dorito side, which is fine, but it's going to be good for you guys to see other shots that might be able to come in on you as well. Please remember with all of these that they can do the same shot back to you. There's going to be some that aren't going to have the same shot just because it might be a lower bunker than what you're shooting from, but they might have a chance of shooting the same thing back. So just as a heads up about that. But this one, we're going to specifically look at the Dorito side. I have 3 pages for this one just because it gets a little bit hairy up over on the 50. So I wanted to kind of separate it so that way it's not just a blob of lines looking like I just took spaghetti and threw it on the paper. From this can, I think you're going to see a lot of people running and gunning out to both of these cans. Reason being is you have a lot of drop shots going into your the snake side can. You can shoot back at the back center. You can also shoot at this tower. You can also shoot into the god with kind of a blind shot. And I think you might actually be able to kind of do, yeah, you can kind of do a blind on the snake side as well. So you have a lot of options as you're shooting out to shoot on the inside of the field and the snake side. So all of that is going to be something. It might not be bad to practice these, especially these bunkers, just because these ones are going to be probably easier to shoot than this one, just because it's blind. But you know, it doesn't hurt to try it. And again, we're just looking at the orange lines right now. Then you can shoot the heads up, or if you wanted to book out here and shoot the heads up, you have that same gap through the to the Dorito one. This one is going to be a little bit hairy. So if you look at the orange one, it kind of has to skim past the little Dorito, drop into the Dorito 2 to 3 gap, and then from the 2 to the 3, sorry, the Dorito 1 to Dorito 2 gap is that one. Dorito 2 to 3, you can also shoot into there. Now, this could be a decent spot to kind of help get control of the Dorito side, just because it's not super far out. I think this tower is going to be really good for that as well, but at least this is just a little bit closer. So if it's a really Dorito heavy team, this might be one of those bunkers that you want to get to, just because you know that you can come out and shoot all of these gaps and be able to help contain these players a little bit more. When you get up to this tower though, you do have some of the same inside shots, so these blind shots, and because it's a tower you can stand up a little bit taller. If you get on your tippy toes, it's going to help even more, or if you're just tall, that's going to be helpful. Shooting into that same shot, so you have pretty much all the same shots as the can. The only one that I think is going to be blocked out is going to be this one back on this can, just because I think this tower is going to block it out on this side. Maybe you get out to the field and you see there's actually a little bit of an opening, but again, that's always just how it works whenever we do these. Shooting the heads up, you have those same gaps. You have to give up that Dorito 1 to 2 gap, so maybe they make it past that gap and you run up into this tower, and now you can battle a little bit easier to keep them out of Dorito 2, Dorito 3, and then if they do happen to, you know, get past there, it's probably going to be good for you to get out of there, because you can't really help a whole lot until they get further up the field, and even then they can take the inside move, use the brick, and just kind of play with you, and it's going to be really difficult for you to be able to really stop them at that point. So you do have decent shots into these gaps. I think the can is going to be a little bit better. The only downside of the can is because it's further back, the shot is just going to take that little bit longer. It's not a huge difference, but it could be enough that someone that's quick enough puts you in and dives across, you won't have enough time to come back out to shoot. From this little Dorito, so the brown line here, you do have some inside shots. I don't really see this outside shot being super helpful, especially because if they can get in here, that means they can also come here. So yes, you can shoot that gap, but I mean, if I were this player, I don't want to battle this person on this side. I can just come to the inside and maybe pop the top and then kind of stand up taller and shoot down on them. It's just going to be easier. You do have that Dorito 1 to Dorito 2 gap, but I think that the better shots from this little Dorito, if you do happen to go there, are going to be the inside shots. Just because if they do happen to go to this little brick, I'm not sure how effective that's going to be, but you have that shot and you have the god. They're pretty much in the same line. They're off a little bit, but they're pretty much in the same lane. So if you shoot that one shot, you might be able to clip 2 players. Again, they have to be lined up, but just a possibility. And then same thing when you're looking at the snake gap, you're relatively safe. I don't really see there being a lot of bounce shots coming into this. There might be something off this wing now that I'm looking at it here, but you can still kind of tuck in. You'll probably be okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe this God bunker wraps, shoots off this wing, and it might skip in, but I don't know. That's another one to consider. I don't know that I would want to play this little Dorito just because, yes, you have this shot, but I think that there's other bunkers that can do that same shot, and it's just going to be a little bit more protected. Looking at the actual Doritos on the Dorito side, this brown Dorito 1, those brown lines are the ones that we're looking at. This one, you're shooting over the top of the edge of the wing here to drop into the God. Another drop shot, and another drop shot. So these are all blind going across, with the exception of this one, just because you might be able to see a little bit of them, but these other two are going to be pretty blind. So that could be something that it's more you're helping the player in front of you, shooting the gaps here. And then if someone says, hey, the home is wrapping the Dorito side, you can shoot a blind over there, or maybe this player is wanting to move up, you might be able to skim it over the top and drop it into them there. I think it gets better once you get to the Dorito 2. You can just see there's a lot more action that you can have. So you can shoot through this little tunnel, which I think is fantastic, just because of the fact that there's a lot of bunkers that are blocked out from this gap, so they can get up into this little brick and then go into the big brick and move there without anyone really seeing them, with the exception of this Dorito. And the inside if you're on this Dorito, but then you're opening up to inside shots. But because you can shoot that channel, you can also shoot the outside, so you can kind of shoot both sides and then, you know, see what happens. If they do happen to get here, I feel like the only way that they're going to be able to shoot you is coming to the inside here, because if you stay low, I think this Dorito is going to protect you. So again, this is all just first impressions as I'm looking through this. You can wrap and shoot into the little Dorito and into the can, and then you're going to have to stand up a little bit, but shooting over the over the top of the Dorito, over through this pin into that tower. And then you have that drop shot to the can, into here, as well as into, so the little brick as well as the God, and then you can shoot that same gap. So yes, that little Dorito has that gap, but I like this one better just because it's a bigger Dorito. It's a little bit easier to stay alive in. You can really shoot that gap and make sure that you're actually going to be helpful with your team, rather than having to fight out of this little tiny Dorito. But knowing that that shot is there is going to be helpful. Once you get up into the Dorito 3, this one you're going to have to kind of shoot over the top and skim. I think that if you get low enough, you might be able to crawl up to this this little brick. And then wrapping, this is again going to be a threading the needle kind of shot, but over through here, and it's just going to be more the middle, the top of that Dorito. So if they stay low, they should still be able to move up, but maybe they're trying to battle you out of the top. I don't know, but that's probably not going to be the best option for them. The inside shots aren't as great. I mean, you do have a fantastic shot going into the snake. Again, it's coast to coast, so it's really difficult to snap someone from there, but at least you can help from both of these bunkers. You can help out in that Dorito, I'm sorry, from the Dorito side to shooting that snake gap. Just make sure that you're keeping them out of the snake, because I think once they get in here, I think the snake is going to be pretty deadly, just because of how it's set up, and there's a lot of options for you. The last thing on this Dorito side is going to be these little bricks, as well as the big brick. So let's look at the little ones first, and we'll look at the big brick. So when you wrap this side of this brick, that brown line, you should be able to get low enough that you can shoot into the can, and then wrap and shoot these other three bunkers, or other two, sorry. So you have the tower, and you also have the little Dorito. You really don't have anything inside. The good thing with that, though, is that you're going to be relatively safe. This isn't 100% safe, because if they get to your snake, you're dead. But at least there's something blocking you from some inside shots. So it gives you a little bit more security, just to wrap and, you know, fight a little bit more. Just know that it doesn't take much for this player to take a step out and shoot that. So just knowing if you have a player in front of you, you don't want to sit on the wrap for a long period of time, just because they can take a step out, shoot you, and then now all that work you did to get there was useless. When you get to their side, of course, it's always going to be better. So these orange lines, so obviously you're not going to wrap if there's a player right there, but you have just some better shots just because the angle is a little bit better. Now these inside shots are where it gets a lot better. So you have some shots into the can. You can shoot this same gap. You can shoot into the wing. Now remember, this wing is going to have a little gap through here, but if you are able to dive across real quick and then shoot the inside, maybe they didn't see you, or maybe they're shooting the snake side, you might be able to catch them off guard there. Into this little brick. Again, I'm not sure how effective this brick is going to be, but it's there. So yeah, so that's the Dorito side. I think you're going to see some bigger runs off the break, just because it's not going to be easy to pick up these different gaps. I think you're going to have options of, you know, running the deep route, the shallow and across, running the shallow route, you know, going through here and doing like a mix of the two. I think that there's going to be a lot of creativity that's happening off the break on both sides, really. But with this Dorito side, just like we saw in the center and possible bounce shots video, those shots that go into there, they are there, but for them to pick exactly where it needs to be is going to be the really difficult part. So you have a lot of options just to get out here, and then it's just playing with people and just trying to figure out how to get further up. Obviously you get to their side, you're really causing a lot of damage. I think that use of this brick is going to be pretty important if someone gets here, because they can come over, like you can see with all the blue lines here. There's a lot they can do on the inside, on the outside. They can come to your side and wrap, and they really have a lot that they can do here. So if someone gets here, just know that you need to be pounding paint. And then remember, they have over the top shots, so it's just a big bunker. So it's going to be something that is going to be good for you to get to, bad if they get there. So tell me what you think down in the comments down below. If you're my Dorito side player, or maybe you just want to put down, oh Greg, you forgot this, put it down in the comments down below. Remember, this is always my first impressions, so we'll see what the actual layout is going to be like this weekend as we go out and actually shoot each other. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.